Welcome back, everyone, to Due Process League. My name is Paul. Also joined here today by Melvin, someone who I haven't gotten to officially duo with before, but I mean, we've had plenty of talks in the past, so I think it'll still be a very high vibe-esque kind of matchup today between Rev International and then Organized Chaos for this first best of one. How are you feeling going into this, Melvin?
I'm pretty good. I mean, as you said, we've practiced before. We've done some
Yeah.
casual stuff. I remember we spoke in the past, but I'm hoping for a good due process. Yesterday there was a really good game. It was back and forth, even with an unfortunate disconnect. It was still a really good game. It still came out as a tie, and I'm hoping today no disconnects. I hope everything goes smoothly, but I'm really hoping for either nice back and forth, some nice, just really good due process. I just want some really good due process again.
Yeah, fingers crossed we do in fact get that today. I know that we ended up discussing with Organized Chaos and Rev International that we should be getting the game underway in just a little while. We gave them like a 3-minute timer when we went into about 2 minutes here before hopping into the actual hot part itself onto caster cams. So we're not going to be up in here for all that much longer. I can assume I'm yeah, once again, pretty excited just to go over all of like the lower league stuff. It's nice to see new teams kind of blossom. And I think that's like a great way to spot out adaptations because, yeah, you have those veteran teams of like GB, for example, but they already know what they're doing in like a team aspect. But then you have teams, even in the upper league, like Bingus, for example, like OC, that are kind of newer to being in more of like that full comp esque kind of group, and it is nice to see them kind of make pretty quick strides most of the time in terms of that improvement. So I'm hoping we get to see a lot of good gameplay today, even though we are in the lower league.
Just because it's lower league, a lot of people will kind of assume that, this isn't GB, this isn't gnomes like that. It's like there could still be some up and coming people that we just kind of gloss over and we don't really know. And then we watch it and you're just like, oh, oh my goodness, why is he in this league? Oh my goodness, there's always a chance to see something unique, different. So I'm hoping we see that.
Yeah, I know that we do not have a full lobby in just yet for organized chaos. I'm gonna just nonchalantly go in their Discord and just at them, telling them to queue up if they can. So hopefully we can get the game over and out with as quickly as possible, of course, but not for like the 7-0 reason. For the we want to get in and get off our faces and go see what the strats are going to be like. That's always like the most interesting thing about due process is because of all of the different strats you can come up with on the flip of a dime, basically. So once again, hoping we could see some good strats coming out by them. Just added Zombie Bacon. Most of you probably know him from the community. I said Q if you can, and hopefully he will say, "You got it," and we'll get into the matchup ASAP. Oh no,
And
I
some of
think they have
them,
to 4v5.
oh no, well they don't have me at it either. So this is lovely. We are
Oh,
professional and we have everything figured out before we go into matches.
uh, oh well, it happens.
It does. It does. I mean, it's life happens. We had that yesterday, where um I mean, especially if you're still living with parents, it's their house, their rules, and if you gotta go and they tell you to get the heck out, you gotta get the heck out.
So I think I remember a lot of days like that when I was like a bit younger. Of course, yeah, those were the rules, but not so much anymore, thankfully. But I'm really hoping that they can manage to pull out somebody in order to get like a full 5-man roster. Not too sure if they will be able to, unfortunately. I think we're still discussing with them kind of their alternative options. And I don't feel like a lot of those options are going to be actually finding a fifth player, unfortunately. So, oh yeah, Roach did just mention that based on the rules, they cannot go off the bat into a 4v5. Like, best slash worst case scenario would be like they find a fifth, they queue in the game, and then they would instantly leave, but that is kind of like a loophole, which, I'm gonna kind of break the fourth wall here. There are kind of a lot of loopholes inside of the rulebook right now, so that could be done. But wouldn't it be fun to still play a 4 versus 5? We might have to see a forfeit off the bat, and maybe ask the two teams we were going to cast at 3 o'clock if they want to just play early. So before we maybe figure all of that out, we might need to go into a quick little break and then update you guys as quickly as possible after that. So we'll be back with hopefully some action here at the Due Process League. Don't go anywhere. All right, and we are back. We have a game on our hands. Thankfully enough, we're just waiting on Roach to spectate on in. It is Space Rangers versus 17s. Unfortunately, probably by the time we'll get there, we'll either have round number 2 already done, or we're going to be in the midst of some brutal gunfights happening as me and Melvin, of course, we're already in the game. And we see it's a 1 versus 3 right now, favoring the defensive side of 17s. Space Rangers not looking too hot so far. But as we finally dive our way on in, we can kind of see the round end out as the second one in the books here. Unfortunately, not much to really color on, unfortunately, for both of us here, Melvin, as we didn't really get a lot of intel going into this because we had to pick this matchup pretty much instantly.
Yeah, I believe they went storage through bathroom, I think, or they went into bathroom. I can't really see if the door got blown out there, but so yeah, just kind of we're kind of gonna guess on what they have really, or kind of see into the truck on on the next round, see what's truly been had or been used. I mean, I originally connected to this game. I mean, this was the game we were doing, and then it's like, oh nope. Um, so I saw like the beginning of it, and that was about it. Ugh.
Hey, well, at least we're finally in here now, so that's a relief. And they did go free, I think, directly through storage, so that does make sense because now they can double charge. And this play in particular, Melvin, it's not like bad on paper. I just don't like the idea of having to deal with both these crossfires when you could just go green, and then yeah, you might have to deal with like this, for example. But that is much easier if you late breach this to deal with that double door, and then you only do office, and then you can just wall charge this to go directly into the bomb.
That's usually the wall charge play, so I'm a little, as we said earlier, lower league we see some interesting things. It could
Hmm.
work, it could fail horrendously, but yeah, the wall charge usually in a server farm it's the safest, because if you're going in there, it's like, oh yeah, well you only have to look left, because boiler. It's like, yeah, but what if that green door is just open and there's a mopper at the end of it? And then it's like, oh, well, we just peek him. Okay, well, what about the guy that's going to be down near boiler? Oh, well, we'll just, yeah, you're not going to be able to do everything immediately. Server farm's kind of the easiest to maybe get a smoke in, either on the boiler side or up on the green door. So that way you're at least going to block off one. If you smoke boiler, you're kind of just going to be running into a choke. And it's a little questionable, but if it works, it works. We see sightlines kind of drawn by the defenders, and they're kind of ready. Mr. Boost is going to be holding, with the Ingmar. We've got Jeff and Oda kind of also holding close with the long range. And then Swanky and Scruff kind of back near dock cargo just in case they need to rotate into office. But Jeff's got the mob, so basically what I said could be true. They could just walk straight into just absolute chaos, but we'll see as that door charge gets placed on.
One thing to note as well, something I was not a big fan of by Space Rangers last time I cast them, was really their inability to make multifaceted approaches. We see a 5-man funnel once again, so that improvement has not been made, and Tetra just walks right into the Ingmar of Boost. So we already have a man advantage favoring the defense. A mop shot was connected on towards Abra as well, and this is just not a pretty sight for eyes at all, Melvin. We can't see that direct wall charge play because of the barbed wire, and Jeff is watching that green door. So we'll have to see that rotate. Now, don't get me wrong. Once again, wall charging directly from server farm into cargo hold is not a bad idea, and a much more preferable idea as well for the attack, but it looks like they're not going to really try to actually back down from this push in boiler room, and that's going to cost them their saber player, and they're still at a massive deficit here.
We talk about almost every game I cast. Every game I cast, people know what I'm going to say right now, as just Jeff is just going to connect all his shots on the mop here, is the dangers of stalling, and Space Rangers are stalling. They're stalling very hard right now, and Faye's just trying to get back outside for whatever reason, is connected with a mop bullet to the teeth. Jeff going to be locking down the angle that I literally warned about beforehand. The second the first mop shot rang out there should have been a change in plan or change in something, but they just kept throwing bodies at it in case it worked, as Booze is going to go down to Jeff yet again, as Oda's connecting some Ingmar shots. Jeff, the final kill in the with the mop as Abra with low health, a dream, a grenade, and a tar and night vision against 4 members. It's not looking good, Jeff. The only one that's low here is Scruff firing shots through into office. This didn't work at all.
Unfortunately, I do not think it did at all, Melvin. Quite clearly, yeah, that's why you don't want to funnel all into one direction. That 3-2 push would have been a much better idea. And also, one thing to note, we only had Abra use his grenade now, and that actually could have been utilized to break some barbed wire, maybe for some other reason go and try to kill somebody, and that would have been much more effective than just keeping it in your back pocket. So I feel like we probably saw the exact same thing happen on round number 1 and 2 as well. Based off the stat lines here, that, yeah, no one has really done all that much as of now for Space Rangers, but that makes sense because they are currently 0 and 3, and they probably were hard funneling on both round number 1 and 2. Clearly, no adaptation so far.
Especially if, once a mop shot rings out, everybody in the team probably, obviously, hears the mop shot, and there should be some sort of, okay, do we know where he is? Yep, he's, at the end of the hall. He just tagged me. There shouldn't be this instinct of, okay, well, Jimmy, you go peek it. Okay, oh, I died. All right, Timmy, your turn. Oh, I'm dead too. Okay, let's send another guy. Like, we should not be doing this World War II Russian not don't take a step backwards, keep going forward. If you go backwards, I'm going to shoot you. There shouldn't be that kind of strategy in due process. If you see that mop, you need to either get that smoke down, which went down way too late, or you go somewhere else. You go get in another way. You don't They spent way too much time around that area devoted to getting that wall charge in than just going somewhere else.
Well, I like the idea here, minted by 17s, to have maybe that crossfire, or at least they understand that breezeway is a good thing to have in your pocket as an attacker, but you're going to have to deal with both green doors at the exact same time. But besides just going through this red door, heading into hallway, and either doing that along with like a 3-2 push into checkpoint, there aren't a lot of great options. Lockers, you have to go through a lot of the map to really get not much control. Maybe if you wanted to commit 2 charges, it couldn't be horrible, but that is kind of spreading yourself thin. So the best option here probably for the attack for a very straightforward round is just to have a pretty big emphasis on breezeway, trying to get that hallway control, and then maybe having someone go checkpoint to either watch flank or just clear out the bottom end of hallway to make sure you actually don't get pushed on by a defender sitting there.
Uh, it's always a question as well because this is the first round. Do we want to get that wall charge immediately? Do we see ourselves using it on that? Especially if, them on attacking now, they can decide, do we want to use that free wall charge for the factory, or do we just, do we see the most beneficial use for it to be here in Breezeway, as they bring the Saber, Tar, and door charge. So no, they're not going to have the wall charge. They're going to have the door charge for Hall, as Scruff is going to connect to Sasuke. So Sasuke, as a questionable peek into Breezeway for intel, I suppose, and immediately is punished for it as they begin their slow breach and push into Hall.
Yeah, not having anybody on the other green door as well, not having any type of refrag capabilities, and only having someone with a light rifle, I think, not even a mop to peek that as well, incredibly questionable. We already have breeze control in the pocket of 17s. They've got the man advantage because they found that first pick, and they have somebody watching flank. I mean, really, what more could you ask for except to maybe force an early util burn, which is what happens. Nobody threw out a flash. That Molotov was really questionable, and so was swinging out your Saber player as well to have Scruff clean up that previous damage dealt. FaZe, I believe, gets blind to smoke gets tossed, so you would have to just blind fire here with that tub as Abra tries to break the distance, but cannot do it, and it is just a massacre inside of offices. A flawless round here on 17's first attacking round, and I mean, they wasted basically little to no utility as well. That is just a phenomenal way of starting out on your attack with really little to no problems in the way either.
And pretty much everybody except the Saber player is going to be getting a defender weapon, an AK, an Ingmar, the Gruber. Just not what you want to do on your first defense round is give them all the utility to basically be on the path to 7-0. It's incredibly dangerous to just be like, all right, first round. Oh, we got swept. Oh, we gave them all of our guns. Did we bring AK? Oh, we brought AKs. Okay, what about an Ingmar? Okay. So the silenced Gruber. Oh, okay, they got that too. Like that's a lot to lose.
Yeah, and everyone just kind of played their part as well. Had a good opening duel, like we mentioned for the attack of 17s. Like they did their job in every way, shape, or form. I mentioned like the flank watch briefly. That eventually came more into like an active role because we finally had someone try to attest near hallway with the Gruber. And because we had that flank watch not really give up their position, it wasn't a problem. They just only had to focus on the site. And because it was already a 5-on-3, the site presence was already lacking from the get-go, especially with Grubers and a tub, which, on that kill house, I don't think a tub is all that useful unless you are, like, ratting in the corner next to that double green doorway, but you'll probably get flashed if you sit there or blown up by a grenade because you're that close to the barbed wire. Anywho, moving back into C-Store, we saw, or at least you and I, Melvin, saw this green push heading in from storage, which, yeah, isn't a bad idea. But there is like I said earlier, a lot of map you have to kind of control both in through bathroom and arcade. And then you don't really have any good sight lines to actually get good bomb pressure, especially if you don't clear out freezer because you have this sight line and tellers as well. So either trying to open up shutters for a play style at your saber because you were able to transition that over to the next round, or maybe go into office instead to open up the actual button in teller for all of shutters to be opened up is not a bad idea either.
Yeah, I think that would be the most, especially if what it looks like they're going to use the wall charge in that last one to do what we talked about. I'm going to assume that's what they're going to do. I've seen some smart play. We've seen smart plays from our attacking team here, and I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. So the office push makes the most sense. Get that wall charge, take control of Teller, open it up, and just basically control storefront. It doesn't matter if they're in freezer; they have to come out to you. If they're in arcade and they have the angle on the bomb, the saber is going to see them. You could maybe cheat in freezer, but at that point, I'm gonna say it's a bit too late as we begin our breach into office. A little bit of a stall, waiting for someone to maybe rush out with the auto. Flash is gonna go. No, grenade's gonna go in, and flashes go in, sweep and clear into office. They are pretty much okay as Tetra holding very close in tellers with that auto as the shotgun goes out. Flashbang goes out, and Tetra, with a time to shine, is only gonna get Mr. Boost and then is put down. And the teller doors now open as Jeff raining down some saber destruction onto Booze. April's going to get some shots with the 8K out onto Jeff and is going to meet a very untimely demise. Scruff pushing out to get Sussex, and Faye is now alone, cold, near freezer, hiding in the bathroom.
Yeah, no team play implemented to help out Tetra. I really thought we'd have someone play for that anti-flash, maybe having that yellow door opened up in a teller, but no, they let Tetra die. That was a very risky play, and it had little to no reward as it was an instant refrag. One of your super weapons now gone, and the Saber is still comfortably in the midst of Jeff. They've got more than enough time to defuse. They're just trying to scavenge any weaponry they can bring over into their next attacking round. So once again, a really well thought out plan. It went very smooth because there was just either no fallback or no genuine pressure established to stop a teller play. So once again, like the main things I was worried about for Space Rangers going into this game, they have not improved since that last time I've seen them, and we might just be witness to a very, very one-sided affair here tonight in this best of one, Melvin.
I'm sad because, like, I know you talked about earlier. I know you and Boxy have joked about the tub. Every time you see the tub, you're like, there's Melvin, man. And it's like, I'm seeing the tub, and I'm sad because I like the tub, and that's not a secret. I always say that I like the tub. I'm not like crazy. I don't think like the tub is the best thing, but like I do enjoy the tub. But like seeing it just used, it's like you have the tub, so you decide instead of keeping it close, maybe staying in your freezer or bathroom, or just being like nothing I'm gonna really do here. I'll just hold, maybe get a pick if someone tries to rush me. That's about it. But instead, you go to arcade in line of sight of the saber to try and take a fight with the tub. And I'm just confused. And as you said, there was no backup for Tetra with the auto shot. Even if that door was open,
Mhm.
they could have had a crossfire going and
Yeah.
actually slaughtered them. But they just kind of, shut the door and was like, "Wow, Tetra, that's gotta really suck being in there." Like there is just no help, and there's a lot of questionable things we're seeing, and it could all be avoided. It could all be avoided.
Yeah, proper positioning is one thing to note as well. You mentioned the tub. One thing that EK has yelled about me when I was learning the game is closing that distance, especially when I was trying to learn shotgun first and
Yes.
foremost. If you're across the map with a tub, you're not going to do anything. I would have much rather have seen your tub player inside of Teller to be kind of like that bait for your full auto player, and then they swing through Teller doorway and they probably deal way more damage than just a singular kill with a molly that just completely misses its mark. But back onto the new round at hand, heading back to factory. It looks like we're going to have a green push. They want to get control of lights inside a boiler. That's not a bad idea either because holding boiler directly is very difficult. You just kind of proxy around these two green doorways and hope you deal some damage. But if no one goes through these doorways because that map control is kind of not necessary, then you're kind of going to be in a pretty bad spot as a defender. I think you and I were correct on the mark of we're definitely going to see a wall charge play. There's still a clacker in the pocket of the attack because they haven't lost any rounds, and they still have that wall charge for round number 6. So they could get instant bomb pressure with the lights out as well if they get boiler in their pocket. And once again, the proactivity, it's non-existent here by the defense. They're letting server be taken for free, which I am a big hater of as well, because this is just that gives them more util to work with when they go for the bomb pressure, which is again going to be instant once the lights get hit.
Yeah, all this utility being used to get rid of some defense pressure. There's no defenders there, guys. Don't worry about it. They're just gonna let you do what you want to do here. But everyone's set up. It seems like they're all set back on walkway. They're set up on dock. They've got the flares out. Sosek has the mop. He's probably going to rotate down to the walkways. They're going to run through with that wall charge going off. Oda immediately going for the bomb as Tetra and Mr. Boost trade. Oh no, there was a TK by Mr. FaZe there as Oda is going to get another kill onto Abra, running out into a hellfire of Molotovs as he's going to go down there to Abra. Everyone kind of piling up on that door charge now. Some stalling going out by the attackers here. Another Molotov going to go out as Booze is going to be able to get Scruff. And there's a lot of craziness. I'm not going to say it's falling apart, but there is a change. There is a shift.
Yeah, chaos ensuing in the middle of the cargo hold. Looks like Swanky will get control of cargo, but not for very long. Now, we get to actually give some critique about 17s because they lost their first round. No one got control of office. Yeah, Swanky's even drawn it on the board that everyone just got tunnel visioned on going through the wall charge, and then nobody went and tried to play office. If you look at the positioning of where some of these defenders died, there were a lot of ample options for sightlines if you had somebody go office. So really begs the question, why didn't you just take an extra second to think about how you wanted to attack? I would have loved to have seen more of a molly bait there. And then because the lights are already hit, the defenders are at a massive disadvantage. You can kind of tailor how the round's going to play out in terms of flow. But you know what? 17s, they've got rounds to bleed. Like it's a 5-1 split going in the second half. We may have seen a very strong hold by Space Rangers, but it was also handed to them quite effectively as well, Melvin.
A slight misjudgment in their enemy, and I don't think they're going to do it again.
Mhm.
Once you kind of downplay, like, we'll be fine, and then you stall and you funnel through. It's like, okay, let's not do that. Let's be smart about this. They could beat us if we do that again, so let's just not do that. And what better place to start doing that than on my favorite tile set, the Kill Dome. And I do like this tile set. I like this one a lot. I think this map specifically is like I like playing on. There's a lot you can do as a sniper player. Even
Yep.
when you have the saber, you could go beach. You could do the jungle push. If you're a mop, you could be kind of back in the top right jungle. You could be up on that red door if you know they're not going to go there. You could be in castle, covering beach and kind of controlling everything in castle. There's a lot to do as a sniper here, but and like sniper players on this Usually on the Kill Dome tile set, the sniper player is kind of front and center for both teams, or the long range players, because it's important to get those controls. If Castle's able to shut down Beach, if that mop player back there is able to stop anyone crossing over, it's very important to set up their team for success, and especially the Saber player trying to counteract that and shut that down.
Yeah, I love how active you can be in Castle, but that's not the only long sightline you can play with here on this Killdom set. I'm also a very big fan of Galahad Excalibur, as they would call it. So weird saying the operation name. But one interesting to note is how you can also approach this as an attacker because of those long sight lines. Getting top runes control is not bad, but it's also really tricky to play here as a defender unless you're proxying near those stairs with a barbed wire. So it's not really that good of a red door when you take an extra second to think about it. You either all approach beach and hope that the mop player misses some shots, or that they're in the back of ruins or the back stairs, which Sosik is actually doing, or you go pit, try to get instant castle pressure, and then try to actually get rid of that mop player in the back of the map. It looks like we've got a full push inside of beach, though. Scruff and Jeff open up the kill feed, and castle control is now forfeit because only FaZe was inside of castle, shockingly enough. So a lot of map pressure already alleviated here, and that's going to be a huge positive for the offense, as they're not going to have to worry about all that much genuinely, besides Sosik with that mop knowledge.
I'm a little confused with. Okay, well, good job, Sosik. You got it. I was a little confused with the Tetra holding Beach and then FaZe doing a late peek and just easily, shut down by the attackers. It's a little questionable, but Boots is going to get a pick on Swanky. Sosik's going to connect with Jeff. Some justice given back to their sniper player. So that is the Saber down, as Oda with the AP and Scruff with the Tar, but Oda is going to refrag into Sosik, and it's all up to Booze with Scruff and Oda. Oda incredibly low. One tap will get it, but Scruff is going to try to get Booze here. Booze is completely flashed, but Booze is going to connect onto Scruff. Oda is but with 1 HP. A simple love tap from the Gat will be enough to drop him and leave them without Saber, but the power is cut. Did the attackers bring NVGs? He does not have NVGs, and he's gonna fall to Booze. An incredible bounce back defense by Space Rangers. Sosik and Booze holding the line for their team. A 2K and 3K, respectively. So 3K for Sosik and 2K for Booze.
Yeah, the Buddy Ace there for the Mop and Ingmar player. I did not like the isolation there by both teams at all. Like you mentioned earlier, Tetra holding base, not a good idea. We saw a lot of just selfish plays happening there. No one was really enabling somebody else to do all that well. And if we just had that one player of, what was it, Scruff that had the Black Tar, correct? Or is that
Yes.
actually Jeff? Okay, yeah. So if we had Scruff instead maybe go Castle and play with his teammate, we probably could have saw that round be a win by 17s, and we could have definitely have seen match point already in this best of one series. But instead, we had a decently tossed flash, or decently timed flash, pardon, but a big distance to be closed by Scruff, allowing the Ingmar player to shut him down. And then we just had, like you mentioned, the player that was 1 HP. They may have hit the lights, but they had to go for bomb at that point. It just seemed very discombobulated there by both Space Rangers and 17s. So it looks like we will still have a couple of rounds be bled by the 17s, but at least since they only went for Beach there, they have a couple of charges to play with. And from what we can see so far, Melvin, it looks like Loans will be the main point of contention so far for the offense.
Loans being pretty good, the fastest way to get to the button, and like in Bank, once again, the dangers of stalling are much higher on vault maps, because you have to get that button, get to vault, especially if there's some distance, and the hell that is this close quarter accounting to get to vault. Like you got to be fast. You can't slow down. You just got to keep moving. So hopefully when they get into loans, they're able just to get to that button. They've got bathroom warned, for this attacking team. Like, hey, someone could be there that could be cheeky, and someone could also be cheeky in security. So we're gonna see if those warnings are going to be kind of used. We see FaZe holding close with the auto at entrance. And Sosik is going to be holding a manager, which manager has a green door. I'm very happy to see bank maps have green doors into buildings and not seeing the vents. I don't like the vents personally, but so that is interesting. There is going to be a slow push by Boost. Some shots going out in the front of lobby. FaZe probably getting really excited, only to probably realize they're not going there.
Once again, the heavy, and I mean heavy isolation here by the defense. If Booz does not insta-toss this Molly and run for the hills, he might be easy pickings against the attacking side of 17. He'll go for the Molly, but it's tossed way too far out. It may deal a smidge of damage to Scruff, but they could just go through the ramp and apply instant pressure by loans. I love the rotate, though, and the communication by Space Rangers, so now they can kind of play off each other once we see this push hopping through by loans. We are also having in the background Boost just waiting near the green door, just about ready to maybe establish some pressure over near manager, but both Sosic and Abra are there at the ready, so they could tag team this lone player so long as they both don't get full flash. But here comes the play inside of hallway. Will they check bathroom though? So far, no. They got to deal with Tetra inside of security. The button now hit. That's not a bad idea, so long as Jeff can just hold down the fort in that direction. They can now try to run over towards accounting, leading into vault, but the defense has actually fallen back. So far, the mobility here by Space Rangers has been quite phenomenal. Abra will fall, though. There's manager control, and there's a refrag on towards Boo's Cruise. So there we have it. The man advantage now back in the favor of the attack 4 versus 3. And with Tetra very low in HP as well, this could easily turn into a 4-on-2, and there's no mollies. All that the attack has to do is just wait about 7-ish more seconds, and they can just start hucking out flashbangs and also a grenade as well, and this could be easy pickings. There goes the first of many stuns, and it is just a bloodbath. Tetra, the only one left alive. He may find one, but he's on such little HP, a single shot will put him down, and that's exactly what happens. Just barely enough time to defuse that bomb, so finally we'll see match point in the pocket of 17s after a very methodical attack on that bank set, Melvin.
If they had held the Molotov for, I'm not even kidding, maybe 2 more seconds and did the exact same stuff, they would have won and it'd have been 3-6 or 3-5. Like 1 or 2 more seconds if they just held the molly, waited, and then throw it, they would have won the defense. But very, very close round. That was like one of the closest rounds we've seen today so far. That one could have gone either way. We're seeing Space Rangers kind of bounce back. We're seeing the resemblance of a team. We're seeing some communication. I think you were talking about earlier with this isolation and like kind of, especially on the Kill Dome set. I think it's kind of like we see this in you probably see it in Siege, is when a player who we know is good is just having a bad day and they think that no, I have to show up. I have to show up, and they kind of
Yep.
tunnel vision. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing is them trying to self-prove that no, 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 I got this, and that's dangerous because it leaves the team open, and you just got to kind of be like, hey, I'm doing bad, but what do you guys need? What do you guys need? I got it. And it's I will say it's a very hard mentality to get out of. I know me being a casual player, I fall into that, and it is hard on some days to get out of it. But we're seeing them kind of snap out of it a little bit, so that is good.
Yeah, the good old mental chalker. I actually did see that in one of my recent R6 casts, funny enough. We had like a main flex player or secondary entry um go very negative, and they just, oh, hi Dalton. Nice to see you here. We had him just try to get overly aggressive, try to make those hero plays like you mentioned, and he just got shut down every single time. So I agree. Just, if you're having a bad day, maybe just change up your play style a bit and just better cater to your team's needs. That would be much better
Yeah.
than just trying to go guns blazing and force a gun down for your side very early on. But back in the round at hand, we don't see any general attacking idea here by 17s, except maybe they want to go into office for, again, that long line of sight. Once again, though, near Breezeway, we have this fence, so there is potential for some sort of crossfire. I hate to go, scrap the drawing here of this nice jet plane, but luckily the spectator drawings go away very quickly. So we could see that full push into office. But once again, I would like maybe some sort of deviation, maybe inside of green as well, just to have some sort of tag team established to not just have a funnel happen through office.
Well, we saw last time that 17's kind of funneled through. It gave Space Ranger some life, and Sosek is going to connect on to Jeff. Sosek's been targeting Jeff for whatever reason. He's always hitting him. But he is going to connect. Jeff is pretty low. Sosek quickly abandoning his post in the office and just getting out of there. He is going to hold the door for a little bit. He wants to see if he can get another shot in, maybe. As now there's some holding into Breezeway. Tetra's going to be holding close on Breezeway with the knack. Some shots are going to go out from Booze onto Jeff. Jeff finally drops. Booze is going to pick up Phase, taking a little bit of damage. Sosek fires a shot. Boost is not tempted to go into that doorway anymore. Molotov's coming out, and we're seeing some little bit of stalling. Grenade comes out, and the Molotov's keeping the attackers at bay. More shots from Tetra. And Oda just exchanging fire, just letting everybody know that we're here. Flashbangs come in as Oda and Swanky decide it's time to get in there. Booze and Tetra giving ground. Swanky's going to be pushing up. Booze out of the fight. Swanky flashing. Tetra flashed for their lives, and he goes down as well as the defuse comes out. And it's a nice 7-2.
And, one thing to mention there, I did not like how we saw Sosick high key bait Abra. Like he did not swing in time to refrag that. Um, but also just the general lack of proactivity there by both Abra and Sosick. Like they understood, okay, somebody's holding the rotate, so we have to go around, but they didn't. So we only saw any damage being done by Sosick with that mop just on a Jeff, and that was it. It did net them a kill later on, but Sosick just could not enable himself at all in that round. He never rotated around like I mentioned, and he was just a sitting duck the rest of that round. That was well played by 17s, and the wall charge attempt in defense was actually kind of smart. I didn't think they would like approach it that way, but it was a nice implementation to have to get control of Office and also Breezeway without having to cross through that first set of barbed wire. Gotta admit, kind of a smart play there at the very end to take this victory, pretty well handed, 7-2, only throwing away 2 rounds in total, Melvin.
And those 2 rounds, we saw like a completely different team on Space Rangers who just shut them down, and then 17's making
Uh-huh.
silly mistakes, and then it was just like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, let's be better. And then they kind of reconsolidated and pushed forward. And same with Space Rangers. They got that win and they kind of reconsolidated a little bit too. It brought some life back. But yeah, that last round, uh, once that right side pushed back, 17's kind of realized, oh, we're not going to get shot in the back anymore. Full send it, and then they just walked in. Flash. See, and the flashes forced Tetra and Booze to push back. Another flash forces them to push back even further, and while they're getting pushed back, it doesn't matter if they're dead, the defuse is going off. There's no one on that right side to contest. They can just defuse. What are they going to do? Like, push back while flashed?
Well, apparently not. But all that being said, we have one more matchup that we can probably start on time because that was a very fast game. We have Organized Chaos versus the 17s. Unless we see OC actually get a fifth player properly, then we will not have that game casted, unfortunately. But I was talking with OC earlier that they do have a fifth now. It's just like I mentioned, if they'll be able to keep that fifth moving into the next matchup of the lower final. But before we or lower brackets, sorry. But before, of course, we go into that next matchup, we're going to a quick little break and be back at around 3 Eastern to give you more information about what's happening today.